right, guys. So we have an interesting thought experiment for you today, and this is really geared more towards the traditional martial arts crowd. But honestly, it could be geared toward anybody, any school, any system. And the question is, if you were given charge of a boot camp style program, at least for their combatives portion of the boot camp style program, and you had to teach your system in that 8 to 12 week block, and do so effectively, and that was going to be the foundation of the recruits training, right? How would you do that? How would you go about teaching the essential part of your system that would actually build a foundation that is practical and usable in a short time frame? So the first thing we have to look at, honestly, is the Pareto principle. The general rule of, is 80% of, the thing will be achieved in the first 20% of effort, and it's going to take the remaining 80% of your effort to achieve that last 20%, right? The real fine stuff. Now, if we take Gladwell's, clearly debunked, falsifiable 10,000 hour rule, but a lot of professional athletes do spend about that much time, to get to that world-class level. So it's good enough for now. If we take that 10,000 hour rule, right, which is supposed mastery, right, which would be that, we'll just say the 100% or close to 100% of this, then 20% of that is 2,000 hours. So just off the cuff, we do have a problem, right? Because 2,000 hours of training doesn't really work out into a 12-week period at all. You would, 166 hours a week you would have to spend to get to that 2,000 hours inside of a 12-week period. You just don't have that kind of time. It's just not possible to put in that amount of training in that time frame. But ignoring that, let's just assume again that the 10,000 hours is is completely phony, and you can get your 80-20 result in that 12 weeks, 8 to 12 weeks. And again, we're not even looking for mastery. We're not even really looking for proficiency. We're just looking for basic competency. Boot camp is basic level preparatory stuff. Then is doing 2 hours a day, 5 days a week is probably enough for most people. So the question then is, if you can, how would you distill your art down into its essentials to build that foundation and build some real functionality in that amount of time, right? We see that, boxing is a fantastic example of kickboxing right behind it. They're extremely stripped down and simplified. Part of that's the rule set, and then part of that is just keeping things basic and fundamental and doing those things over again, easy enough. But even like the USA Wrestling program, levels 1, 2, and 3 for for folk style, freestyle, all that kind of stuff. They're just 8 to 12 week blocks for each of those levels. If you include folk style, freestyle, and Greco-Roman, even the actual USA Wrestling curriculum is still, across the levels and everything, would still take less than a year to get through all of that and build a functional game plan. So understanding that, like, basic boxing, kickboxing, and wrestling are already stripped down and simplified, and these are good reasons why people would pick those as a baseline. It makes a lot of sense. But let's say you're a karate guy, a kung fu guy, a silat guy, Filipino martial arts, whatever. We could just start naming things. How would you distill your system down as not only a primer, but a functional preparatory tool during that time period. So tangentially to this, what we have is we have a little story that Ip Man relayed, at least to Ip Chang. This, we don't have details. This could have been just an at the dinner table kind of conversation. That Ip Man said something to the effect of, if you could reduce the 3 forms down to 1 form, that it would be better. And it's hard to argue with that, right? Forms are fantastic, but they are abstractions, and your best time spent in training is time touching hands and doing, more specific conditioning, etc. And Ip Chang took it upon himself to actually take up that challenge and try to produce a single unified form. I have certain issues with it. I think it looks too Ip Chang and not enough kind of, essential Wing Chun. That's my opinion on it. I don't think it's necessarily a bad form. I just don't think it is as representative of the system as it is representative of Ip Chang. But a noble effort anyway. But thinking about that question and thinking about this question of distilling an art down into a boot camp digestible art. As a Wing Chun guy, I would probably spend time on the wooden dummy, because all of the essential concepts and movements that we do in the empty hand forms, almost all of them, can be found in the dummy in some form. And the ones that are absent, I would then look at in Chi Sao and hand cycling drills, which are fundamental to the system, and we can get through those extremely quickly and to a reasonable level of competency very, very quickly. And from there, spend a lot of time sparring. Like, every class would end in like 10 to 15 minutes of sparring. So you might spend some time working the dummy. You would spend some time working some of these basic drills on your with footwork, without footwork, simpler and more complex handwork. We can get through the majority of the system with the dummy form, Chi Sao, and some hand cycling drills, although you can include those in the Chi Sao, and sparring. And I am very confident that while you would not necessarily have the whole system, and you would not have the robust understanding of the system at the end of that, you would have an essential and practical understanding of how Wing Chun functions in a 12-week period doing just those things. So that's my challenge to you. Think about it. Don't do a knee-jerk reaction. Think about it for a little while. And leave a comment down below, make a response video, whatever. How would you distill something into a boot camp digestible training curriculum that can fit into an 8 to 12 week block? Again, not looking for mastery, not even looking for proficiency, looking for base level competency, being able to use the system as it was intended in a fight, etc. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I will talk to you guys later. Good journey. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. In the links down below, you can find our social media, and I encourage you to follow us there. Take a look at our blog, where we have articles that go into depth that we just can't do in our video productions. And on top of that, go to our Amazon store, pick out a shirt that you like, and every little bit helps. If you're ever in the Phoenix area, look us up. Come in for a class, come in for open mat, whatever. Love to see you down here. You can find all our contact info on the website. Talk to you guys in the next one. Good journey.